Say something in Arabic so I sound more official.
يعني في مشاكل.
في مشاكل.
I'm sure it's like Arabic/English. I don't know. It's
يعني. Alaikum, another episode of Ask SQ. You ask, I respond. But today, inshallah, we are responding to one of your questions, inshallah. Make sure that you are following us on all of our socials right here so that you can submit a DM and we can respond, inshallah. And if you're new to this channel, inshallah, consider subscribing as we are doing programs to help raise and boost your iman, inshallah. So let's get into the question. In a family where I'm the only one who makes regular salah, and I understand my family struggles because I was there once. My father would make salah every now and then, but other than that, the rest of them don't really practice this. Thoughts?
I think that just by you making salah in a home where maybe other people may not be practicing salah, just by your actions alone, that kind of goes a long way in spreading that message of what salah can do for you. So for example, let's say at first you start beginning making salah and people see you praying at home. It may be a little awkward, maybe a little different. They may feel some type of way, but maybe internally you don't know the impact you may be having on them. Maybe just by the action in and of itself, as opposed to preaching to them word to mouth, just your consistent actions of maybe getting up for Fajr or maybe even, Salat al-Ashr. If they see you doing that day to day, I think that goes a long way in kind of showing how committed you are to your deen and in turn having an impact on the people in the household.
I think that one of the common mistakes a lot of people make when they start practicing the deen is that they go super hard and basically whoever is in their family, they sort of attack them in a way, right? So they make themselves seem like I'm right and you're wrong and you're just practicing it culturally, or perhaps you don't know what you're doing. You're maybe doing bid'ahs, you're doing things that you've learned from your culture, but why are you doing stuff? And it's just really sad because just a few days ago, just like you've said, I'm not saying you're doing this, but a lot of people do this where they feel like they need to play this superhero role where they have to save everyone in their family and, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, but that's not the correct way of doing things at all.
Kind of like what we were talking about during our brother's halaqah, where like religion is something that's personal. It's not something that you have to prove to somebody else. It's not something that you have to like kind of show off to somebody or kind of prove your value. It's something you do for yourself. And when you do that personally, you're sincere with your religion, rubbing off on other people kind of comes naturally. So I think the first thing for whoever's in that situation, and there's a lot of people, I think make it personal, make it spiritual for yourself at first, and everything else will come kind of, in flow or seamlessly.
I think it comes naturally. It comes with a lot of time as well, too. I know personally when I had my journey at like the age of 22 or 23, it's like, how is it that it took me 22 or 23 years to figure things out? And I expect people who might be doing things a certain way for 22, 23 years to all of a sudden change according to how I want them to change. And that's a really arrogant type of approach if you ask me personally.
I think we're all different. So you got to be able to differentiate each other's lives. Your journey may be different than somebody else's journey. Maybe it took you 22, 23 years. Maybe somebody else 10 years. Maybe somebody else 50 years. Everybody's different. To put your situation and try to make that parallel to somebody else's situation, it's just inaccurate because everybody lives different lives. Maybe your journey had different struggles than somebody else's.
My point that I'm trying to make in this is the fact that if it took you that long to figure things out, right? It's not realistic for you to think that now all of a sudden you're going to try to convince someone else to change the way they're doing it. Like a lot of times people try to convince their family immediately, and like you just figure things out, bro. Like you work on yourself, as you were saying, work on your own iman, work on your own deen, perfect your own religion, and with actions and time, they'll come around. You want those quick fast food type of results. Like this isn't McDonald's. Like things, real long lasting change takes time.
Maybe if somebody who doesn't pray at all and they see you do it consistently, they may not say anything, but that doesn't mean they're not thinking about it. Even if it takes them a month, a year, 2 years, 3 years, the fact that they're pondering upon prayer, at some point that pondering will turn into action. So we can't look for these quick fixes.
I think a big mistake is that a lot of times people try to just like force their views upon their family, when I don't think that's correct. I think a real long-lasting change, as you mentioned, takes gradual time. I'm most worried about my older brother. He really doesn't show any interest in his deen. He basically sleeps a lot, and during the night he watches movies all night. I think he's just annoyed with his brother, like right now. Like it's clearly like he loves him. You get what I'm saying? Like he clearly loves him. Just like he doesn't like his lifestyle that he's living.
Sleeping all day, watching movies all the time. That sounds like a normal, typical brother in any scenario.
Who just doesn't care. Like, yeah.
So I think this has nothing to do with spirituality. I think any basic advice, Muslim or not, is just try to spend some more time with that brother, try to do more things with them, and hopefully get them productive. Then through that, religion comes.
Good point. And you said that build that relationship. That's the key. That's exactly what we're talking about here. You got to build that relationship. And a lot of times we just think that if someone's your older brother or younger brother, that, oh, you're brothers, you should just listen to me, when that's absolutely not the case. Because the next part they're writing is, when I would put the radio on the Islamic channel, like maybe a YouTube lecture or something like that, he would get annoyed and tell me to put it off. Hell yeah. I mean, like, why wouldn't you, right? Like, if you have no interest in that sort of thing, it's like a person who listens to different types of music. If you're putting on rock, but I only like hip hop or country, like, you're not just going to mesh with the person. I think it all comes down to having those common terms and, like, not forcing it upon someone. You're only creating a toxic, nasty taste in their mouth for what Islam is.
I relate to what you're saying with this person's situation. I know growing up, like, I had a circle of friends who were Muslim, but like, I kind of started practicing as far as prayer and things of that sort before they did. I would start praying. They wouldn't really want to pray. They'd rather spend their time playing basketball. Now, the key thing and my point is that we go out and still play ball, but I wasn't there trying to preach to them.
It's priorities as well.
When time for Asr came, I'd be like, hey guys, give me 5 minutes. I'd pray there. It may got awkward at first, but through time they started to respect it. Again, there was no word to mouth. They just saw it through the actions, and it kind of went from there.
But that comes down, Akram, what you're talking about right now comes down to confidence and just swagger, right? Like, it comes down to you knowing what's right and you doing what's right no matter what someone thinks or does. Like, it doesn't matter, like, if it's awkward to you. Like, I'm gonna still do it, and if you're truly my boys, you'll understand me and you'll allow it to happen. And if you're not my boys, you can, sort of move on.
I think it's very obvious. You can only try to put on a persona for so long before people call you bluff, whether it be trying to be cool, trying to play like this player type of persona, whatever it is. So if you're comfortable who you are, if that's spirituality, you go about and live your life that way. And once you do that, people will respect it.
Put off, if he's watching a YouTube lecture, he'll leave the room or whatever. But like, the key is you want him in the room. That doesn't mean you do like things that are displeasing to Allah just to please him. Like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, go start listening to music with him and doing it. Like, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, like, find a common ground where you both are in the same room. Like, if our advice is to win him over through relationship building and all that, how is that going to happen if you're putting him off and he's running away?
Nobody likes to be told what to do. Exactly. I know I definitely don't. I'm sure you don't. And as a teacher, just like yourself, I teach 6th grade, for example, and just to draw a parallel to this. A lot of the students in my classroom, they may not have a father figure at home, for example. Now, all of a sudden, you got this 25-year-old guy telling you to sit down or do your homework, giving you orders.
Why should you listen? Like, like, my own family doesn't tell me, who are you? Who are you?
So to draw that to what this situation is, you got a person who's an older brother or a sibling, and you're just coming up to them telling them,
and their parents, and you're saying your parents don't even do it. Remember, I messaged this person on Instagram once, like a fairly good relationship, but in their posts, and they're like an Islamic page, like they're like a proper Islamic page, and in their post, they started like cursing and stuff like that. Like, it was kind of crazy. Like, they started cursing and posting curse words and all that sort of stuff. And the thing, I'm like, hey, just make sure you're not doing this because people look up to you, whatever. Just be careful, right? And their response was like, my father doesn't tell me what to do. Who are you? I think obviously that's a very negative way of looking at things, but that's the reality. That's how people think. Like, my own parents, my father isn't telling me. Who are you to tell me what to do? You know what I mean? I think it's obvious that they care and love their family, and I don't think anyone, none of us would even doubt that. Like, you love your family, but if you love your family, you got to find ways to build those relationships and try not to do things that will push them away.
About Islam is that, like, it's very straightforward. Islam, it creates inner peace internally, but it doesn't tell you that this world is going to get any better. Like, these problems are real. Family problems are real. Like, if you look back at the stories of the prophets, Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, he had brothers who basically sabotaged him, threw him in a well, lied to their father. That's a serious family issue. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam with his father. That's some serious issues. So who are we to think that we're not going to have family?
Say something in Arabic so I sound more official.
يعني في مشاكل.
في مشاكل.
It's like Arabic/English.
يعني, there we go. So I think that one thing that I want to take away from this, because that's pretty much essentially the question is, like, if you really love someone, you should do things that gain their love and their trust and build those relationships. And if Islam and practicing your religion is causing people to run away from you, that means you're practicing it wrong. You're doing something wrong that's causing people to run away from you, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if your religion is causing you to sever relationships that maybe you had in the past, then you're not doing the right thing.
You're not practicing it correctly. You don't have the correct understanding of it. So, like, I know I used to do this, especially with my sister. My sister wasn't really upon it. Like, she didn't want to really listen to me. And sometimes people aren't ready. And Allah knows when they're ready. But all you got to do is be a really good, awesome brother, and things will happen. I personally think that. Damn. I just had like
That coffee going.
Whew. I just had that jalapeno burp from that
Gotcha, man.
Papa John's, bro.
Wash it down with coffee.
Oh, subhanAllah. Whew. Ready, inshallah. Okay.